Welcome to Cocktail Mode, the podcast where me, Dave, and my good mate Andy take a retro game and pair it with a cocktail. This week's game is technically RayStorm, the arcade and PlayStation 1 and Saturn vertical shoot-'em-up from Taito from about 1996, which is celebrating its 30th anniversary this year. So we're going to talk about that and its prequel and sequel, although technically the sequel is a prequel to the first game, so it kind of wraps around on itself.
Slick. I hadn't played RayForce or RayCrisis at all before we chose RayStorm and al.
I don't think I had, if I'm honest. I think I possibly had seen it because I had like 8 minutes of playtime in MAME, which, because that's the same version of MAME that I've had for going on 27 years, is properly my all-time playtime.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I've looked at it once and I don't know when. It could have been 20 years ago.
I played a decent amount of RayStorm.
Okay.
Previously. I'd never finished it. I'd never kept on chucking the credits in to finish it. But yeah, so that's the one I knew. I didn't know there was an order. I knew it wasn't a single game. But it was just something that I think in terms of this episode, I had seen when we were looking for things that were on their 30th birthday and thought, oh, that might be fun. Because it's, you know, as much as, what was the last game we played that you'd never played before?
Rocket Knight Adventure.
How do you feel about Rocket Knight Adventure?
I hated it.
There we go. So it was a bit of a gamble.
Yeah, but it's a V-shmup.
Yeah, so less of a gamble, basically.
Yeah, like a sure thing. I didn't realise that. I didn't realise that RayCrisis is a prequel to RayForce. Yeah. So it's a beginning is the end is the beginning is the end thing. Yeah. It's like, oh, fuck off.
Yeah.
Nobody's playing this for the story.
Somebody must be, because they keep making the effort to put one in there.
Yeah, but you know what's really, really funny about it? I don't know if I think it's RayForce. Played it through for the first time, all the way through, in one continuous go. Took exactly half an hour, like exactly to the second. And at the end of it, when the last boss is blowing up and everything.
Spoilers.
It's not a spoiler at all, because I can't even tell you what the words are. Reams of text come onto the screen to tell you what the story was. But it's in such a horrible font, on such horrible background colours, you can't read it, and it's only there for like 2 seconds.
See, I think the interesting thing about that is, were you playing on Steam? Were you playing the...
Yes, I was playing the Ray's Chronology, or whatever it's called.
Yeah, so was I. And I could read that text, but I couldn't read it that fucking fast.
Even if you can read it, it's not there long enough to read.
I thought maybe that I had like clicked past an intro scene, and that was like the intro scene again.
No.
Because why tell all the story at the end? It's just bizarre.
Yeah, it is weird.
So I think that the general story of RayForce is that rogue AI has taken over the planet and wants to eradicate human beings.
Sounds like a good idea. I think it should.
Yep. You know, in the Marvel series, where the whole after the snap, there's all the graffiti in the grid. The Thanos was right.
Yes,
kind of graffiti in that. I absolutely love that. I think they should have delved more into that, because I think there's you know, I'm slightly on that side of things.
Yeah, I don't necessarily disagree.
Yes, I think it'd be better if you could choose the half.
I think there's a big difference between enslaving humanity and just eradicating them.
Yes.
One's a lot easier.
So you found out something interesting about Taito.
Yeah, Taito was originally formed in the 40s by a Jewish guy from the Soviet Union who moved out to Shanghai and founded this company that eventually became Taito. Taito actually means, if you break down the syllables of it, Jew from the East.
Really?
Yeah, that's what the actual characters translate as. He sort of named it after himself. He's like a Jew living in the East.
That's amazing.
In, I think it's 1954, it's certainly the early 50s, the first thing they did as Taito, because it was a different company and then it got dissolved when the communists took over China and he left for Japan. But when he formed the company Taito in Japan in the 50s, the first thing they did was they were a vodka distillery.
Oh, nice.
The first one in Japan. So all of those great Taito games, Space Invaders, you name it, all of them were developed by a company that made vodka.
Nice. I think we should see if we can get the podcast sponsored by Taito now.
Well, they don't really exist anymore. They've been bought and sold more times than that poster of that bird scratching her ass playing tennis. It's a very, very checkered history of being sold to Square Enix, then another company being called Taito, then that being folded back into Square Enix, then Square Enix making another company called Taito, and then folding that back into Square Enix, and then renaming another subsidiary to Taito, and then it's just... It's a clusterfuck. It's really... Yeah. You just look at it and you think, this is all like hiding profit and loss and tax evasion and fraud and stuff. It has to be. It's the only reason you dissolve a company and fold it back into another company.
Allegedly.
Yeah.
it's the new spoilers. Allegedly. That's awesome. Love that. So we are, I mean, ostensibly, as Dave mentioned at the beginning, what inspired this episode was I realised that of all the many, many, many games out there that are celebrating their anniversary in 2026, 1996 was a big year in gaming.
It was a big year culturally. We've already discussed this.
We have. It was a major year. And yeah, so it was a big year. Lots and lots of very, very good games because of the launch of the PlayStation, because the Saturn hadn't died yet, and I guess the arcades weren't dead yet as well. So there was a lot going on. It was a really, really big year. So there are lots of fantastic games that are 30 in 2026. Tomb Raider, I think, is probably the biggest. There's lots of talk at the minute about the Tomb Raider remake, the Something of Atlantis. But anyway, point being, RayStorm, which is the middle game of this series, but also the best known of the series because it is the most ported game in the series, is 30 this year. I realised that, spotted it somewhere, I can't remember where, and thought that'd be fun, something a bit different, we've done some popular games, let's do something a little less mainstream. A little less mainstream than a stunt car racer. Yeah, fair point. Yeah. If you don't know this series, the easiest set of names for them is to go RayForce, RayStorm, RayCrisis in release order. RayForce is also known as Layer Section or Galactic Attack or Gunlock. RayStorm is also known as Layer Section 2, and I think that's it. And RayCrisis is just RayCrisis. Yep. So as it goes on, they get significantly fewer names, which is nice. The naming for the first one, Gunlock, was an unused alternative. Oh, like a development name. Well, no, the team submitted a request to Taito because they were quite like a sort of country bumpkin team in the middle of bumfuck nowhere, Japan. And they submitted a thing to head office and say, oh, this is the game we're making. Can we have some, some titles to choose? And they came back with RayForce and Gunlock. And the head designer preferred Gunlock, but they ended up going with RayCrisis. RayForce. Sorry, RayForce. It's been such a minefield of which one we're talking about. Today's drinking game is every time we use the wrong name for one of these games. And yeah, take a swig of whatever you're drinking tonight or today. Don't do it if you're at work or driving. So yes, started with RayForce, 1994 it was released. The date on it is 1993 on the title screens and whatnot, but that was the development date. It didn't actually release until 1994, early 1994 obviously in Japan, later in the year in other territories. So the whole series, so there was that, and then RayStorm I think was 96, which is what brought this to our attention. And then RayCrisis 98, I believe. So every 2 years. They are vertical scrolling shoot 'em ups. And the original RayForce was one of the earlier games to use a lock-on mechanic for a vertical shooter. It's there were earlier games. We mentioned before, Afterburner. It might not be a vertical shooter, but it's got a lock-on mechanic. It did exist prior to RayForce, but I think popularized is probably the wrong gun, but almost perfected. It's a lovely mechanic. And it works very well in the game as well. Yes, it was developed as an alternative to having a bomb feature. So it's in RayForce in particular, it is things that exist on the lower plane of the game, which is where the layer section name comes from, because there are things on the ground and there are things in the air, but there are also things in the air that are low and close to the ground that then get higher up the screen. And in RayForce, the lock-on only works on these lower things. It's a mechanic that gets very muddy in the later games.
Yeah, as to what you can lock onto.
Yeah, it becomes a little less clear, and it's probably one of the reasons why personally I think RayForce is the best of the trilogy.
Yeah, they came up with the basic idea because they liked the fact that it made you move around the screen. So you're chasing enemies to get a lock on to fire a shot at. The original game that sort of gave them the idea was Xevious.
Yes.
And then a game called Master of Weapon, which has got like a 2-dimension shooting thing where you're shooting at the ground and then shooting in the sky at the same time. That's quite good, actually. I played that for a little bit.
Did that have a lock-on thing? Is that what it...
Didn't have a lock-on, but it had you were shooting vertically up the screen at things at like in vertical space.
Yes.
And you were aiming bombs at the ground.
Okay, cool.
Very odd thing with that. When it first starts, the game is set on September the 11th, 19XX. As the Japanese used to like to do. And in the first level, you are bombing skyscrapers.
Double ouch.
Yeah. It's like 1989.
Wow. Yeah,
but it's one of those weird things that we look back on now and think, shit, that's a bit predictive.
There was a Mega Drive port of Master of Weapon.
It's a pretty good game. I'd recommend having a go.
Vertical shooter?
Yep.
Yeah, I may have a look at it. I've played all 3 of these games quite recently, and my tolerance is the wrong word. My appetite for vertical scroller shooters is not the same as yours, Dave.
No, I do tend to like them regardless. I'll find something I like in any vertical shooter, usually. It's not very often I put one down very quickly.
RayForce is all sprite-based with some beautiful scaling effects, I have to say. Absolutely stunning graphical style to a pixel-based game, and then RayStorm obviously being 96's early 3D and has got that vibe of, I think, reminded me quite a lot in terms of the style of the 3D. It reminded me of Einhander.
Oh, okay. It made me think a lot of G Darius, which is a horizontal scroll shoot map that I had on the PlayStation. That is a very similar thing with like beam weapons, have a very particular look in that. This does very similar.
I think graphically, in terms of the style of things, I think I've seen a bit of the Darius games, and I think it's probably closer to those. But one of the main guys worked on the Darius series.
Yep.
So I think he's probably brought that over with him.
Darius too.
So Tatsuo Nakamura, I think had worked on that series, the Darius games, Darius 2 in particular, and some of that. I think 100%. It's the kind of, I don't know what, there's probably a very cool name for it, but it's that kind of living things that are actually robots kind of look to stuff. Let's go techno-organic. There's a word.
Oh, what's the biotech? That's the old 90s phrase.
That kind of thing. But in terms of, I think the scaling, I think in particular, is very, very cool. I was particularly fond of the having craft and things that are deep in the screen, far away from you, that then get closer. And the fact that if you wipe them out when they're far away, it's far easier because you've got your lock on. And
yeah,
it's just very, very cool. The transitions are very cool. It's a very cool thing.
The original designers would be incredibly pleased to hear you praise that as well, because that was apparently very difficult to do.
Yeah.
The hardware that they were running on, whatever the latest Taito model was, it was very good at scaling sprites away.
Okay.
But anything that zoomed in had to be like the entire screen layer.
Oh, God.
So there's loads of really complicated stuff that they had to figure out how to do to get it to do what they wanted to do.
Wow.
Yeah, it's great.
So that's RayForce. RayStorm come along 2 years later with this graphical style. We were already talking about it. But yeah, it was early 3D, which some people really don't like. I've got a bit of a soft spot for it, I have to say.
Well, you say it's early 3D. It wasn't that early in terms of arcade. There'd been a lot of 3D arcade games at that point. It was new to home markets, obviously.
Yes, but it does have that kind of, it has that Sega Saturn PlayStation look about it, doesn't it?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely.
Rather than arcade 3D games, which have been around, as you say, over a decade by then.
Mm.
The look of it is that PlayStation-y, Saturn-y, slightly broken up 3D.
Yeah, a lot of glitches.
I've got a lot of time for it, but that's probably just nostalgia speaking. And you, as we've said a million times, you can't account for nostalgia. It's its own thing. It's either there or it's not. But I still don't think, even with that nostalgia, I don't think it's quite as nice looking as RayForce.
No, it's sprites have a certain thing to them, don't they?
Yeah.
It's like a warm blanket from your childhood that you just can't let go. But no, I played Ray Z Chronology, or whatever it's called, on Steam, which is all three of these games, including HD remakes of Storm and Crisis.
I never got round to playing them.
They're exactly the same. They are literally exactly the same with better graphics.
You say better.
Okay, nicer looking.
Are they, like, for RayForce, are they still pixel art?
No, RayForce doesn't have a remaster.
Of course it doesn't.
Because it's not 3D. Which is weird, because when I first initially played it, I played it on the PlayStation emulator with all the extra rendering settings and all that stuff. And it looked exactly like the HD remake. When I started playing that, I thought, oh, I've seen this before. So it's probably all they've done is take the original models and just upscaled everything, because that's all the emulator does.
Yeah, absolutely. I doubt it was an awful lot of time, money or effort. But yeah, so RayStorm is the sequel to RayForce. There is a story in these games. I mean, and that's it. That's all we're going to talk about.
Yeah, I don't know it. I don't know what it is.
They have a story. It has a lot more words than blast off and strike the evil Breedo Empire, I'll tell you that. And therefore, I haven't paid any attention to it. But what I did like, I think the closest thing to a story that I did like about RayForce, going back a smidge, is that you start in deep space and go to Earth. And that as you go between levels, it never stops and goes level 2 and starts again. It's like one long thing.
Yeah.
So there are transitions. There's a transition bit where you go through the Earth's atmosphere, and very, very cool. Very cool indeed. I was a huge fan of that. The fact that it was almost like one long level. Almost. Obviously, you don't play the transition bits.
It does break to tell you your hit percentages and things.
Yes.
But yeah, it doesn't ever fade to black, say level 2, and then here we go. Yeah.
It's like those one take action movies that are very popular at the minute. It's a bit like that.
Like in no way whatsoever.
Shut up. RayStorm isn't like that. RayStorm, I think, in terms of most things, it's a bit more of a straightforward game than RayCrisis. And the lines of
RayForce.
Drink. RayStorm is a bit more of a straightforward game than RayForce. I nearly did it again. And now I've forgotten what I was fucking saying.
It's a bit more straightforward.
It's a bit more straightforward. And I think particularly with RayForce, it is that whole low stuff gets lock on, high stuff you shoot with your guns. And they very specifically designed RayForce as well without, we used to call them smart bombs.
Yeah, smart bombs. It's always been bombs.
I don't know where that particular terminology comes from, but those big screen clearing things that these games nearly always have, they made the decision not to put one in RayForce. And can't have been a very popular decision because it is back in RayStorm. I don't know what inspired it. It may have been feedback, I guess, because nearly all games of this type have one.
Apparently people didn't mind it.
Yeah?
Yeah, when they did their first initial testing, the headquarters, the office that this development team were in was above an arcade. Okay. So they literally just built an arcade cabinet before it went off to Taito to be like properly tested. They just built like a prototype version with a couple of levels, didn't even have artwork on it. They just wrote new game on the marquee on the machine. And just sort of stood there as people played only the first 2 levels.
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah, so they had their own ability to like pre-test and sort of get feedback from people straight away. It was like an arcade attached to a gym or something.
Yeah.
So the people going in there weren't going in there just to play games. They were going in there to do other things. And it was like, oh, there's an arcade machine. I might play a game for 10 minutes. So they didn't have hardcore players in there.
God, imagine living there, be able to tell that story now. Oh yeah, RayForce. I remember when I played that when it was called New Game.
Defender was the first game to ever have a smart bomb in it.
Oh, and such a beautiful one as well.
And that's 1980. So it's been a thing from the start, nearly.
I think, I may have said this before. I've definitely said it to someone before. I don't know if I said it on this podcast before. I think Defender is one of the oldest games that is still enjoyable today.
Yeah?
Yeah, I think because, nostalgia aside and having memory of playing things for the first time and all that sort of thing, there is a mid-80s point where things get playable and enjoyable now. Earlier than that, and it can get a bit sketchy. But Defender was very early and it's still very good.
Yeah. I mean, as much as I don't like it, Pac-Man as well. Pac-Man's still very, very easy to pick up and play.
Very true.
There's no sort of barrier to it other than being shit at it.
Oh, man. We should do an episode on Pac-Man.
It's out there. You can listen to it. I forget which website I found it on.
Let us know if you've listened to our Pac-Man episode. If you got all the way through it, we'll give you a prize.
Give you a refund, whatever you pay.
Anyway, RayStorm, Dave. What did you think of RayStorm?
I really liked RayStorm. I thought it was brilliant. I hadn't played it for any proper length of time before this week. And I played it on MAME because as soon as we knew that we were going to be doing it, I thought, oh, have I got them? First of all, have I got RayForce? Have I got RayStorm? Have I got RayCrisis? Yes, I do. Great. Let's put one on and play it for a few minutes. I put RayForce on. Yeah, works fine. Ooh, it's actually very good. Played it for about half an hour.
Finished it then.
Didn't finish it that first time. Well, the thing is, I had real trouble with because I'm playing on an Xbox 360 pad, I had real trouble with the shoot button and the laser button, like the lock-on shot, being on face buttons.
Really?
So I wanted to be holding the vertical shot all the time and then just flick to the thing when I needed to. And after a while I thought I'd just put it on one of the triggers. And it made it so much easier to play and so much more fun. And I just restarted. Like every time I dicked around with the settings, I just started it again. So I got a fair way through it. And then I played RayStorm for a little bit. I played RayCrisis literally long enough to see if it worked or not. And then I found the PlayStation version of RayStorm.
Yep.
And I started to play that. And then I don't know why. I think I was searching for something to read up on. And it came up with available on Steam. It's like, ooh, let's have a look at that. And it's RayForce, RayStorm, RayStorm HD Remake, RayCrisis HD Remake. I thought, ooh, I'll have a look at that. Then I realised it was 40 quid.
Ooh.
Yeah, very pricey. I bought it. Because I thought, I am going to get the time out of these.
Appreciate your sacrifice.
Yeah, because I thought, you'll play it as well, so it'll be worth it. You can buy me a couple of drinks.
Oh, I absolutely will.
But they're great games. Really, really enjoyable.
I found RayStorm immediately a little bit easier and later on a bit harder than RayForce. I think the earlier levels are easier.
Yeah.
I think the later levels are harder. And the later levels get a bit bullet helly.
See, this is the weird thing. I don't really think of any of the three as bullet hell at all.
Well, I don't think they are. I think in parts they get they're getting that way.
They're getting difficult. They're never bullet hell.
But they're getting difficult because there's massive bursts of fire all over the screen.
I found a lot of times it's locking onto things and shooting them before they get a chance to come up to the layer where they're able to shoot. So you can really affect the game in that way. If you know what's coming and where it's going to be, you get a lock on early while it's still flying up to try and shoot you in the face. And then you just kill it before it gets a chance.
Yeah.
I think it's one of those classic arcade games in that you have to learn the sequence of where things are going to be and what's coming.
100%. Yeah. Absolutely agree. And to me, I thought all three games, to be honest with you, the patterns and the kind of, I guess the sequences of things to do, like far less, I don't know what word it is, maybe prescribed than, because obviously the most recent shooter I've put any good amount of time into was Ikaruga. And in that, you were like, this bit, I do this, and it came quite quickly. It seemed a lot more chaotic than that.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, everything is happening in a pattern, everything is happening in a sequence. That's just the nature of this sort of game. But I found it very, very difficult to get the hang of these patterns.
Certainly the difference between RayStorm and Ikaruga is that because Ikaruga is very much a vertical shoot 'em up, you very rarely like change plane or move within any other dimension other than like up and down, basically. So you're just looking at where things come on the screen and what they do, where they fly, and things like that. Because RayStorm, it does the thing that I really liked in Star Fox, where you're flying through like an armada of ships, and there'll be one in the distance that you can't interact with yet, but that will be the one you take on after the one you're about to fight.
Yeah.
But you'll fly like over the ship and round it and underneath it, and then other stuff will come on the screen from the sides. And I think it's probably that, because it's messing around with your idea of where things are going to come from.
Yeah.
It's probably, you're just shit. No, I do know what you mean. I do know what you mean. I found it quite difficult to learn where things are coming from.
Yeah, there's so much going on.
Yeah,
and the backgrounds are so detailed in some of these bits. It just comes on. It just takes a bit more effort to remember at this bit this happens. And
yeah, I found half the time I didn't realize you could shoot something.
Yeah,
until you fly into a position where you get the lock on. Because we should say the lock on is like, let's say, a quarter of the screen away from your ship. So you have to move around to get the lock-on effect on things.
And that's what the lock-on, you can't move it around. It doesn't move around independently of the ship.
Can in RayCrisis.
Yes, it can.
It moves down. If you're at the bottom of the screen, you pull down, it does move.
It comes, so it's a little bit closer.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is RayStorm. There is a lot going on, and I found it quite confusing quite a lot of the time. Bless my poor ancient eyes and brain and reflexes. But I still hugely enjoyed it. But one thing that I take away, one negative really, that I take away from this whole series is I don't find any of the bosses particularly memorable, or any of the boss fights particularly memorable. There's one big tank thing which turns up, I think, in RayCrisis that sticks in my brain, and obviously the massive end boss. That's it. The whole other bosses are the bit in these sorts of games that you're trying to get to. That's your motivation to keep going, because you want to see the next level, you want to see the next ridiculous screen filling boss. But yeah, I couldn't describe any of them other than the two I just mentioned from all three games, and I played them yesterday.
Yeah.
And yes, I've got a very aging, fading memory, but it's not that bad.
No, I know what you mean. They are kind of forgettable. There's a couple that stick in mind. The tank one that you mentioned comes back twice. It's in RayStorm and it's in RayCrisis, I think.
That makes sense, actually. I think you're right.
It's more like a mid-level boss in Crisis, but that's a good one. But that boss in particular does demonstrate one of the great things I love about this, is that when you fight a boss in this, all of the weapons that will shoot at you are things you can target with the lock-on.
Yeah.
But there will be a central point that is like the main thing to take out to kill it. It's the basic question is, do you concentrate solely on the thing that will kill it the quickest, or do you take out the weapons to make the fight less difficult? And I love that choice in whatever level it is that's in space. Basically, I keep thinking of it as the Star Fox level. Because there's these giant capital ships and there's tons of them. They're everywhere.
But
you can target distant ones with only a couple of lock-ons and take them out. But the big ones that you fight are a lot more involved and a lot more difficult. And they have things. They have like missile ports, kind of like missile silos on a submarine. So little flaps that come up and then these missiles come out. Target those individually, take them out. That's gone for the rest of the fight.
Yeah.
You make the fight easier for yourself. And I've absolutely loved that. I really appreciate that level of effort that's gone into making that boss.
They reminded me very much of some enemies in Res. Those Res has similar thing. There's like 8 banks of those missile things. And
you've done pretty well, mate. We've managed an hour and 15 minutes before you mentioned Res. I was keeping a check on that.
RayStorm has the choice of 2 craft, doesn't it?
Yes, and they are very slightly different.
Yes. Grey 1 and Grey 2. So Grey 1 is the ship from the first game. Basically, you have a maximum of 8 lock-on capabilities, and the R Grey 2 has 16
Yep.
as a maximum.
Which is an awesome purple lightning effect.
Yeah.
Which I love.
Let's get on. We're talking brief about RayCrisis now as well. We've talked in brief about the previous two. RayCrisis is a really interesting game in that it's, as Dave mentioned right up top, it is the final game in the series, but also the first game in the series.
It's a prequel to RayForce.
It's a prequel to RayForce, yeah, and it's
why? I just don't get why.
Yeah, I don't understand why either. The ships, like these R Grey ships, they're not named that. They're something else. It's not actually
Wave Rider. It's not actually set in space and/or on Earth. It's set in a cybernetic environment. Not a real world at all. A fictional planet.
All that sort of stuff. That's all very 90s / sort of creeping turn of the century. All very Lawnmower Man.
The composer of the music asked the main designer, "What's the sort of feel of this place?" Basically, she was looking for like inspiration as to what to do. And the single word that he kept using over and over again was inorganic.
Oh, cool. That's a good word.
But this world is an entirely created thing. So even something that looks natural is artificial.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
I like that. I like that a lot. But yeah, RayCrisis in this, so you're battling a virus, basically, to all intents and purposes. Again, we don't really care about story, but there is a mechanic where the level of infection, they call it the encroachment, goes up and up and up, and you, by beating enemies quickly, you can bring it back down again. Is one new mechanic. Other new mechanics include the fact that there are 5 stages, but you only get to play 3 at a time. Is that right? I've got that. Yes.
That's what you said earlier, so I hope so.
Yeah. So there are 5 stages, but the beginning and the end are always the same. There are 3 in the middle that can be one of 5. That can be any 3 out of 5. And so that makes it, this replayability that these games have anyway, it really adds to that. And it makes it, I think, a bit more home computer friendly. Home computer, like it's the fucking 80s. Home console friendly. Because that's sort of the sort of mechanic that gets people back. There are 3 ships you can fly in that. And I think in the home ports, they're all available from the start. I think you have to unlock them in other versions. But I thought RayCrisis was, I mean, it's 100% the least good of the 3.
Yeah, I thought that.
Yeah, I don't think there's much arguing with that. But that whole thing of your levels are only 3 out of 5, and the whole not wanting the encroachment, and the fact that if the encroachment hits 100%, you skip straight to the end boss and you get the bad ending. I think it's a really interesting attempt to bring something for home consoles into what's a very arcadey genre.
Yeah,
I'm a fan of that. I'm a fan that they tried. You know what I mean? It may not be 100% successful, but I really like they tried something different with it. I also really like, and tell me if you can remember this being true of RayStorm. I only noticed it in RayCrisis. But your 16 lock-ons that you have with that second ship, if you have 16 available and you hit 5 and you release it, if before it's finished bouncing around between those 5 ships, you lock on to other ships, it keeps going.
Yes. Yeah, it does.
It's fucking cool.
Yeah.
I love that.
There's an achievement that goes with it as well.
Is there?
Yeah. It took me a while to figure out what was happening with that, actually, because I'd get, like, you know, like you said, like like 4 or 5 or whatever.
Yeah.
And fire it just because there was nothing else on the screen. And then something else would fly on and get locked on by virtue of flying in front of me.
Yeah.
And it would, like, the lightning would come back and start hitting those. It's like, ooh, that's cool.
It's very cool. I've never seen that in a game before.
You can start the chain of the shot and then target other things. Yeah, once I've figured that out, but this is really clever, actually. That's a very good system.
Yeah, very cool. I think I got an achievement for getting a 16 level lock on.
Yeah.
Which isn't always easy, because they say you lock on to 6 or 7 things and you're holding on waiting to release it, but they're getting closer and closer, and soon they're going to kill you. So you have to release it even though you don't particularly want to.
Well, not only that, they can fuck off the screen.
Well, yeah, absolutely.
They can bugger off and that's it.
Yeah.
You can't shoot it.
100%. Yeah, so you're going to miss out on those points. So yeah, I loved that mechanic. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah. It took me a while to get used to and start to enjoy the lock-on thing. I think we talked about this a little bit before in Space Harrier when we started to talk about Res and Panzer Dragoon and things like that have a lock-on system. I'm not a fan, but I think I was more of a fan in a more flat 2D game than a 3D game.
Interesting.
I took to it quicker here than I did in Planet Harriers or Panzer Dragoon or whatever.
Because I did think that was potentially the only thing that might stand in the way of you liking these games, because you mentioned you didn't enjoy the lock-on.
For me, it's the disconnect between flying around and just like applying the lock-on to things.
Yeah.
And then pressing the button. There is an option within, it's certainly in RayCrisis, I think it's in RayStorm, to just do it automatically.
I think it's just in RayCrisis.
Yeah, you basically just hold the fire button and move around the screen. So you're always firing your main shot, and then any time anything gets locked onto, it instantly shoots. I played with that for a little while and I didn't enjoy it as much. I wouldn't say it took a lot of the challenge away, but it took some of the fun away from getting those lock-ons and actually shooting them properly.
Oh, you mean, I completely agree. On the PlayStation version, I think it's PlayStation, maybe Saturn, but probably PlayStation, of RayCrisis, there's a special mode where I think it's every time you die, it changes. So you start with the first ship and then you die and it switches to the second ship, and then you die and it switches back to the first ship but with auto lock on. And then so every time it changes.
That's interesting.
So yeah, just I thought that was a neat idea. It was already a game that was trying to bring something for home consoles to the genre, and then the home console ports do even more than that as well, including making the ability to get the good ending even, well, actually possible.
Which, for full disclosure, we haven't done yet.
Oh, oh, no.
And maybe never will. We'll watch a video.
Yes, I've seen the bad ending. Because I'm shit at these games.
I've seen the normal ending.
I've seen the bad and the normal, but of RayCrisis, I was about to say, which game are we talking about? But it's only RayCrisis that does it. Have you seen the other levels though?
No.
Because the other levels you can just get at random.
Oh, okay.
So there are 5 levels and it chooses you 3 from those 5.
Ah, okay.
And you can select them on the PlayStation version.
Right, gotcha.
So the PlayStation version might be in my future, actually, because it sounds really good.
Yeah.
The true ending, I think you have to have less than 20% encroachment by the end of the game.
I didn't understand what encroachment was.
Encroachment is the virus, how far the virus has spread.
Right, and how does that work?
By killing big stuff very quickly.
Right.
So bosses, sub-bosses, all that sort of thing. I think I finished at over 85%. And I have read things from people who are very good at vertical shooters saying it is very, very, very difficult to get. Yeah, if it was not me going, it's very difficult to get, you'd go, yeah, whatever, mate. But no, these are people who know what they're fucking doing.
Hold my beer and give me 10 minutes.
Yeah, not one of those.
No.
However, the PlayStation version, you've got to do it in 5 continues as long as you're less than 100% engagement.
Oh, okay.
So the PlayStation is the way to go.
Right.
I mean, I literally only found this out earlier today, otherwise I would have told you before.
I knew as soon as I'd finished it because an achievement came up that said, view the normal ending.
Yes.
So I thought, there must be a good ending. Didn't also realise there was a bad ending, which must be if you let it get to 100%.
There is, yes, exactly. So if you get to 100%, you fight the end boss immediately.
Oh.
And it's only a very short version of the end boss.
Ah.
Ask me how I know.
Were you not very good the first time you played it?
I was not very good. I mean, when you fail at it, which I did obviously on my first time playing it because I was so bad, it was like 10 minutes because you literally skip to the end. The game goes, you're shit. Here's the final boss and fuck off. I don't want to deal with you anymore. I do the thing. The game, I hate vertical shooters for doing this because they're so good at doing it. It does that thing where it makes you chase shit around the screen and you get absolutely mugged off. Oh, I'm going to go and get... Oh, I'm dead.
Oh, a power up.
I'm dead.
Yeah. I found actually quite often, because I think it's in all three of these, when you shoot a red enemy, so in a group of like say 5 or 6 enemies, the last one will be red, which is a shoot 'em up staple anyway.
Yes.
They will drop a power up, and then other things will drop a power up, and it's sort of like gems, sort of like crystals, aren't they?
Yes.
And I found half the time I just skipped them, because I don't know if you've noticed it, but I'm not sure if it's all three, but certainly in I think it's in RayForce, and it probably carries it on all the way through. Wherever you are on the screen when it spawns, it will head towards you.
Oh,
so
really?
if you're in the middle of moving from the top of the screen to the bottom to get away from shit, it will go across the screen and vanish. So you sort of sit there thinking, well, I'm not getting that one.
We haven't really mentioned power-up.
There aren't really power-ups in what I would class as the traditional vertical shooter power-ups.
No.
Like your main, we'll call it air-to-air laser,
Nice. Yep.
gets improved, but it's barely noticeable because you're barely actually using it half the time. I mean, I'm shooting with it 100% of the entire game.
Yeah.
It actually hits about 5% of the enemies in the entire game. But the lock-on one does get improved and beefed up a bit. You get more targets, don't you? You can only lock on so many, and then it upgrades and you get more targets per upgrade.
It starts with 4, which in the original design they wanted to limit it to 4, but in the final game, if sort of RayForce, it goes up to 8, and in RayStorm the R-Gray 1 goes up to 8, and in RayCrisis the sorry if you're thirsty, I got all those right. In RayCrisis, the Wave Rider 1 or whatever it's called, again, starts at 4 and goes up to 8. So it's that first ship, and then the second ship that comes in 2 and 3, whatever it's called, goes up to 16, but you have to unlock it. It's not, the capacity isn't there by rote, and for both of them, you have to get the power-ups to unlock all the levels of locking. So the power-ups for your main either bullet shot or laser, depending on which ship you are, gets upgraded and just becomes kind of a bit bigger and a bit more powerful. It doesn't like get a particular spread on it like you normally get in these. There's a bit of a spread, a little bit of a spread, but not like you're used to, not like 1942 sort of levels of spread. And it just gets more powerful. And it's almost not power ups. You're absolutely right. It's just increased power to that weapon.
Yeah, which I like. I hasten to say it doesn't make it any easier, but it doesn't. You're not clearing the screen all of a sudden, like you said.
No.
With other games where all of a sudden you're at the maximum power of your laser, which means you don't ever need to move.
Yes.
Only to dodge bullets.
It's a difficult thing to get right, isn't it? Because the real classics of the genre, like R-Type, well, not vertical shooters, actually, neither of what I'm about to mention, R-Type and the Gradius / Nemesis series, it's about management of your power-ups as well as everything else that's going on, and that takes sort of a different level of development. That's something else. So you're not only building a level that is challenging to play through as a shooter, you've also got to build power-ups that can be negative in some situations and positive in others, and that whole thing they don't have to worry about in this game. It's just, they can focus on making this lock-on mechanic work brilliantly, because that's the main focus of the game, and it works. It's a great shout.
Yeah,
big fan of it, big fan of the whole thing. Cool power-ups are cool power-ups, but I don't think the game needs them.
No, I don't.
Particularly, I think with the second ship with that 16 lock on and the way the electricity fires around all the other ships and that, I think that's cool enough on its own.
Yeah. You can also, I don't know if you noticed this, but you can also fire the laser when you're not locked on to anything.
Yes, I did.
And it will just fire a shot off into space. When they were first designed it, it did nothing. If you didn't have a lock on anything and you pressed the laser button, nothing happened.
Oh, really?
Early feedback was like, I pressed the button and nothing happened. Why? Like, well, you weren't locked on to anything. Like, yeah, but something should happen still.
That's cool. I mean, it's true as well.
I think you should get some horrible penalty. Just to make it harder.
I think it should backfire and destroy your craft. When you were playing these games, did they remind you of anything else? Did they make you sort of immediately think of other games that were similar or with the lock-on effect or anything like that? Or did they feel fairly unique?
Bits and bobs. I think RayForce reminded me a little bit of a game called Image Fight, which I think is an IREM game, if I remember right. Mainly because that's got a lot of enemies that shoot, I don't know if they're bullets or like laser or whatever, but they'll come out of the enemy and then move across the screen.
Right.
And there was quite a few instances, especially with the bosses, where there are enemies that will shoot sort of semi-homing shots.
Yes.
You can, just move and they'll be fine. They'll probably go past you. But certainly in RayCrisis, there are things like that you cannot avoid. They move too fast for you to avoid. But that whole thing of like homing bullets being fired at you reminded me a bit of that. But in general, I think of them as their own thing. I haven't played any. I definitely have played games with lock-on mechanics before.
Yeah.
But they've never really sat very well in my mind. I've played games where you shoot at the ground as a secondary thing, and that has never really stuck in my mind as something that I particularly love. So I think I've pigeonholed these as like their own thing, which I like because I'll come back to them because of that. I think if I'm reminded about these at any point, or when we're editing the audio or I'm putting together a video, I'll come back and play them probably all the way through.
Yeah. I think you're right. I think they do something. I think, as I say, I hesitate to say popularized or perfected, because I think there are better lock-on games and I don't think they ever actually got that popular, but there's something about it that just seems like complete about the fact they've taken this approach. This is what we're going to do. I think particularly RayForce, the first one. So this is our design. This is what we are going to do. We're going to make a game where you have lock-on for stuff that is further away and a normal standard shooter for stuff that is close, and it really owns that. It works, everything it does around that mechanic, and does it brilliantly. I think in a lot of other ways that we mentioned, it doesn't in individual parts as a series. I think it's very much one of those more than the sum of its parts games, because the graphics of the second two don't really blow you away. The music's good, but it's not really memorable. The bosses are good, but they're not really that memorable.
Yeah. It's funny you mention music, because I genuinely seem to blank music in these sorts of games. I'm so focused on what I'm doing. If you said to me, what does the music sound like in this? I don't know. I genuinely don't know. I know it's good.
Yeah.
Because having played the game and listened to it as I was playing the game, I thought, the music's pretty good. But I'm concentrating. I'm really, really focusing. I could almost turn all the sound off if I didn't need audible cues for when I've got a lock on to something.
Yeah. And this is the thing, I think I'm always impressed when like professional game reviewers and that talk about the sound design of things, because it's such an easy thing to take for granted, isn't it? I think it's one of those things you notice when it's done badly. It's like if something doesn't have an audio cue when there should be one, you'll notice immediately.
Yeah. Or there are speech samples acted by somebody who can't act, like Die Hard Trilogy.
Going back to the original point, I think if there's anyone out there listening who is also a big fan of shoot-em-ups, like David, and he hasn't mentioned Radiant Silvergun, I think they might be quite surprised. I don't think you've played Radiant Silvergun.
I have played Radiant Silvergun. I played it when we did Ikaruga.
Of course, because it is the spiritual predecessor.
Yep.
Ikaruga is the spiritual successor of Radiant Silvergun.
Yeah, it's the spiritual predecessor.
Whatever.
Interesting little side note, actually. There was a sequel to RayForce went into very, very early development, almost as soon as the first game came out, before they'd had a chance to even get the go from Taito to make a sequel.
Amazing.
That game did get a little bit developed before getting shelved.
Oh, I read about this, and it's available somewhere. It's available on one of these compilations or something. The fully playable prototype demo is featured in the Ray's Arcade Chronology compilation, but only on the Switch and PlayStation 4.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
Physical versions only.
That's bullshit. Utter bullshit.
It was one of those like limited run games. I don't think it was limited run games, but one of those companies that publishes and physically produces games that otherwise wouldn't have a physical version.
Yeah.
And as soon as they're sold out, their price like doubles. It's like reverse cars. It's like rather you drive it off the forecourt and its value halves. These games, as soon as they're sold out, the value doubles. They're bonkers, and then comes down again, and then goes back up again a little bit after. Yeah, that's a shame. But yes, there's a Neo Antoine. Has a video on YouTube that is the R-Gear full playthrough, 4 minutes and 35 seconds.
Yeah, because I only made one level.
Yeah.
It's it's RayForce 2, basically. Yeah. It just looks like RayForce, which isn't a bad thing.
No,
I think if it had come out quick enough, it could have been pretty good.
It was abandoned because of the whole 3D thing, wasn't it? They were doing a pixel-based shooter and they moved to...
The whole thing around 3D, when the design team took RayForce to the JAMA show in Japan, which is like the Japanese arcade trade show, their one takeaway from that was, shit, Namco have made a really, really good game in Nebulous Ray, which is almost exactly the same as our game, but looks much better.
I don't think I know Nebulous Ray. Doesn't it immediately...
I recommend playing it, mate. It's well worth a look. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
And I can imagine why they were really pissed off about it as well. Because it is... hands down, nothing else looks like it at that time. Basically what they did was they took 3D models and then turned them into 2D sprites.
Oh, cool.
So it has the look of a 3D game without being 3D. Apparently they use the same system that Ridge Racer used to model all its stuff.
Oh, I'm having a quick look at a video now. Just had a quick look at a YouTube video. That is a beautiful looking game. It's funny because when you said 3D things rendered as sprites, I immediately thought of Clay Fighters. One of the ugliest games I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
I wasn't, you weren't winning me over with that, but I'm glad I took a look.
Yeah. Had a weird sort of stop motion animation look to it, didn't it? I kind of liked the look, but I never actually played the game.
Nebulous Ray looks, oh my God, that's great. I will be playing that for sure. Beautiful thing.
Apologies to the RayForce dev team.
There are lots of games, mostly subsequent to these, with lock-on features. So there was quite a weird situation where in Japan there was a bunch of small games made and put into a series called Guild 01.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so when they came out in Western, they were broken down and released as individual games, digitally only. And one of those games was called Liberation Maiden. It's a lock-on game. Obviously it's short because it was designed to be part of a compilation, but it's very anime style. It's all very sort of that kind of
lots of fluorescent greens and pinks. It looks lovely.
It's great. It's a beautiful game, and I say it has this lock-on, this kind of thing that we're going for. It was what's the word I'm looking for? It was sold, as so many of the later Grasshopper Studios games were, as a Suda51 game. As best I can tell, Suda51 hasn't actually made a game since No More Heroes, which really ties in with the theme of No More Heroes, which is basically video games are fucked. I'm convinced that every game that's got his name on it, he's had very little to do with since. His name was on Liberation Maiden, and it's clearly, absolutely clearly not a Goichi Suda game. Doesn't change the fact that it's brilliant. It's great. It's more into the screeny, more Res and Panzer Dragoon than it is this a vertical or horizontal thing, but it's very, very cool, very good looking, very short. And since the 3DS is now dead, you can steal it without breaking your conscience in any way. And I think it's worth putting it out there because it's a kind of like a genuine hidden gem. One of those things that's kind of gone very much under the radar. Was there anything else you wanted to talk about with the Ray games, mate?
There was one fun little note about the soundtrack to the game.
Oh, yeah.
So the soundtrack was being developed independently from the guys making the game. Mm-hmm. So they sent design documentation and like overall feel of the game and what they were going for and things. And Taito had its own sort of in-house music group called Zuntata.
Yeah, they called it the house band.
Yeah, the house band. I love it. It's brilliant.
That's great.
They were just sort of using temporary music tracks, and it got really, really late in the development process before they actually got the music.
Huh.
Like, it literally got delivered to them by bike courier, like motorbike courier, on the day of the deadline.
That's amazing.
Can you imagine in the development of Res, the music hasn't turned up, and you're like, oh no. But yeah,
awesome.
the team who made this were like the sort of the C team within Taito's development team. So they just made a game in isolation from the larger company. And it turns out that's a great way to do things like this.
It comes back to something as pretentious sounding, but isn't pretentious as artistic vision, isn't it? You've got essentially one or two people who've got an idea for a game that they want to make happen.
Yeah.
They weren't originally allowed, this C team, they weren't allowed to make shooters. It was like that was one of the other team's jobs. There was this very specific, this team does this team does that, you do whatever we tell you to.
Yeah.
But because these guys had history and this is what they wanted to make, they built like an entire design document whilst, working in the background on other things, and then took it to the company and they went, oh, you know what, that sounds quite good. Let's do that.
Yeah. Go on then.
Yeah. Have a go. I've just remembered something. Mr. Nakamura, was it? Nakamura-san, I guess is the polite way to say his name, was involved in the development of Football Champ.
Oh, awesome. Brilliant.
Yeah, and not even that long before.
I was going to say, what was that, 91, 92?
91, 92, yeah. The bottom line is, I think, fundamentally, play these games. If you're even a small fan of a shooting game like me, I am a casual vertical scrolling shooter fan. I always prefer horizontal. We've talked about this in Ikaruga. I tend to lean towards horizontal shooters over vertical shooters. But if, like me, you're even a passing fan, you've even enjoyed just one or two vertically scrolling shooters in your time, at least play RayForce, but probably just play all of them. However you can.
Definitely.
If you haven't, you've missed out on 3 really great games. What's the Dave recommendation? If you're going to play one, which one?
I would say RayForce.
Yeah?
Yeah, I think so. I think it feels... I don't want to sound like a prick and say that it feels genuine, but...
You just did.
I loved RayStorm, and I think it does a lot of really cool things with its 3D. But yeah, I think RayForce out of the 3 is the one that I preferred. I wouldn't say don't play and, pick one over the other. Play all of them. Make up your own mind. But my preference of the 3, I think, was RayForce.
I'm with you. I think there is a design... See, this is even more wanky than what you said, but I don't care. But there is a design purity to layer section or RayForce or whatever we're calling it today that doesn't exist in the other games. There is a very clear focus on what they wanted to do and how they wanted to achieve it. And even if you don't recognize it as that, you'll just feel like you're playing a really well-made product. And I think it's got just that little bit over the other 2. We don't score things on this podcast. If you've never listened to us before,
God.
We don't do that shit. But
never will.
And yeah, we absolutely never will. It's complete nonsense. But I will rank these in terms of RayForce, brilliant. RayStorm, not quite as brilliant, and RayCrisis, not quite as brilliant as that. But they're all still good games. They're all still more than worth your time, because it's not a lot of time for one. So it sounds like damning with faint praise, but I think to try them, it won't take a lot of your time. There is no reason not to give these games a shot if you like this sort of thing. If you fundamentally hate vertical scrolling shooters, they're not going to change your mind.
No, I don't think they will. But if you're already in that sort of area already, then yeah, if you've never played them, give them a look, by all 100%. Means.
Yeah, there's a Dave seal of approval. It's like you're not an expert on the genre or anything, but you've played and enjoyed a lot of vertical shooters.
I tend to enjoy them a lot more than you do.
Yeah, to me, that means you've played more, so you've got more context, which means when you say this is worth playing, it means more than when I say this is worth playing.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Cocktail, shall we?
Yep.
I think always a bit of a task when it comes to games that are quite as old school in design and even more than usual comes down to basic levels of association. But let's see, what did Dave come up with?
So I had a little bit of fun finding out the history of Taito and their early forays into being a vodka distillery. So I've gone very, very simple for this and just gone for a vodka cocktail. So
Is that what it's called?
It's just listed on Difford's as a vodka cocktail.
Oh, that's cool.
But it actually does sound kind of nice. It's 60 ml of vodka, so a good double.
Yeah.
25 ml of cherry brandy,
Ooh.
15 ml of lemon juice, 4 drops of Bob's Abbott's bitters, and 3 drops of Simon Difford's salty water. Or a pinch of salt. Whichever you have to hand. If you have access to Simon Difford's salty water, then by all means use it.
I'm going to go out on a limb.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not going to go on a limb because if I'm wrong, we can just edit it out and I won't seem like a moron. But I reckon that's a classic cocktail. I reckon that's from like the Savoy cocktail book or a Harry Craddock's book or something like that.
Yes, it is adapted from a recipe in Grosby Gage's 1944 Standard Cocktail Guide.
Yeah. See, that when you get like the vodka cocktail, that when the names are like that, they are normally ancient, like properly old school.
When vodka was an exotic thing that not everybody had access to. Yeah, exactly that. So yeah, it's a classic. It's over 80 years old.
Yeah.
But no, that sounds kind of nice. I mean, the cherry brandy is going to add an element of really good flavour into there. Lemon juice is going to add to that. Not too sure what the bitters, those specific bitters anyway. Bob's Abbott's bitters. I don't know.
I don't know those. No, I can't. No input on that.
That's a different one to what I'm used to seeing.
Cherry brandy was the first alcoholic drink I ever had.
Really?
Yeah, glass cherry brandy that my nan gave me.
Nice.
She was like, yeah, just open that cabinet and there's something called cherry brandy. Just put me some of that in the glass. And she was like, yeah, just have a little drop yourself. It was fucking lovely. It was so nice. Might be the reason we're here today. Who knows?
Yeah, maybe.
But yeah, it's too sweet for me now.
Well, that's why you pair it with bitters and saline solution.
To quote a good mate of mine, I'd give that a go. I think heavy on the vodka though, isn't it? That's a lot of vodka. A double shot of vodka.
Double? Oh, fucking hell.
I mean, yeah, but then to add brandy, that makes it a triple. It's like
it's fine. Yeah, wait, when I mix my White Russians, I have a double vodka, a double Kahlua, and then some milk.
But Kahlua is like 14%, isn't it?
Yeah, but it's still a double shot of vodka going in there first.
Yeah, I suppose so. I think that's a strong. Oh, Difford's will say, wouldn't it? How boozy does it say at the bottom of the Difford's thing?
3 units of alcohol.
See, it's not nothing, is it?
No, it's a fair amount.
Yeah. So yeah, my cocktail is 2.7.
Yeah. Cocktail top trumps. That's what we need to make. Oh, that's a merchandise idea, that.
Oh, mate.
Cocktail
amazing.
mode top trumps.
We are making that.
You could do it like a diagonal split and have the game and the cocktail. And then you pick between the... Oh, yes. I'm making that.
That's brilliant, mate.
Metacritic score.
Oh.
I know you hate it.
Oh, you made me... Ugh. Yeah, so mine, which is only a 2.7, is rated a 9 out of 10 on the Difford's boozy scale.
Oh, mine's an 8.
Oh, really? I guess you've got other stuff in it as well.
I do love that stuff, though. I love the percentage by volume and grams of alcohol. I love that stuff.
So it's all good for the top trumps card, mate.
Yeah, we're doing that. We're definitely doing that.
Absolutely. I think that might be heavy on the vodka. I guess if you got really nice vodka, then you'd be okay.
The vodka that's listed is Kettle One, because I think they sponsor everything that's vodka.
Yes.
On Difford's. But to be fair, it is a good vodka.
It's one of those things, if you make it with Smirnoff, when you've got that much spirit in something, if you make it with the bottle of Smirnoff that's been knocking around at the back of your cabinet for 15 years, it's not going to taste very nice.
You say that, but I have no issue with Smirnoff.
Do you not?
I think primarily because I'm mixing with Kahlua and milk, so it doesn't matter what the vodka tastes like.
I guess that's fair.
I could have the cheapest, shittest vodka available. And it would be fine.
Have you ever tried making it with better vodka?
I have. There was a deal on, I think it was one Christmas. There was like a 2-pack offer thing on Amazon, which is like a bottle of Kahlua and a bottle of Absolute vodka.
Oh, yeah.
For like 30 quid, which 15 quid each. Well, yeah, that's not bad, actually. That's a better vodka than I normally get, and a bottle of Kahlua. And it made absolutely no difference whatsoever.
I think Absolute is one of those things where they've started premium and gradually reduced the quality of what they're doing while still maintaining the price. And because I remember thinking Absolute was like different level vodka when I first tried it, and it just tastes like Smirnoff to me now. I don't think that's my taste evolving. I think that's them devolving their ingredients. Something like a martini, you need a good quality vodka for, because it's mixed with vermouth, but it's still like mostly vodka. And that kind of harshy raspiness comes through a bit, and it's better to not have it. I will again mention Sapling vodka.
Oh yeah, meant to get some of that.
Not because we are sponsored, unfortunately, or affiliated, unfortunately, but because I was so impressed with it when I bought a bottle and had it. It's quite expensive, but it's so nice.
So what did you go for? You started to talk about your drink and then just kind of stopped.
Yes, because I had questions. So that's fine. It's called a conversation, Dave. That's what we do.
Oh, okay.
So, see, what I did, this is one of those times, right, where I see a cocktail that I want to do, and I don't have all the ingredients. So I start looking for some substitutions. Usually it's like, oh, there's one thing, I can't make that because I've not got this. And that's what sort of caught my eye. I read through this recipe and was nothing really registered as unusual until I got to the bottom, which was Bob's Grapefruit Bitters. And so I went on a bit of a thing looking for alternatives to Bob's Grapefruit Bitters. And then I realised that I also don't have maraschino liqueur. So I needed to find an alternative for that. And I also don't have Americano Bianco. So I needed to find a substitute for that. So all I was left with was London Dry Gin. And yay, I actually had that. So of the 4 ingredients in this cocktail, I have substituted 3 of them. But the cocktail is called On Differs. The official name is 3 of a Kind.
Ah, okay.
Right?
Good.
It's basic. I'm not going to deny it's anything other than basic. But because I've replaced 3 of the ingredients, I'm going to call it a 3 of a Kind of. The name comes from the fact I think it's like a 1-1-1 ratio.
I was going to say, is it an equal measures thing?
So 30 ml of London gin, 30 ml of Americano Bianco, which is very, very common to be substituted with Lillet Blanc. I didn't have that either, surprisingly, because it's an ingredient in one of my favourite cocktails, but I discovered I'd run out. 30 ml of maraschino liqueur, which is cherry-based almondy liqueur, and 8 drops of Bob's Grapefruit Bitters. Stir it, put it in a glass with a big chunk of ice. It's a type of white Negroni, which I'd never heard of before. But to go into these substitutes, right? So I looked up substitutes for Americano Bianco, Cocchi Americano, Lillet Blanca, like almost 1-for-1 replacements, or go for just a white vermouth with a little bit of orange bitters in. I had those things. Yay, I'm going to do that. Maraschino liqueur. I have cherry liqueur. I made it with my own cherries last year. It's delicious, but it's not got that almondy flavour of maraschino. So for the 30 ml of maraschino liqueur, I did 20 ml of my own homemade cherry liqueur and 10 ml of the syrup from Cocktail Cherries, which has got a shit ton of almond flavouring in it. So kind of got there in terms of that flavours. And in terms of grapefruit bitters, sadly changes the colour of the cocktail, but Campari is in the same sort of area. Apparently, again, grapefruit bitterness, and I can see it. It made sense, but there was basically the top alternatives I was given was Campari or orange bitters, so I did 4 drops of Campari and 4 drops of orange bitters.
Surprised you didn't use Cointreau in there just to chuck some orange in.
I mean, I could have done. I have like a bitter orange syrup that we made ourselves, but I didn't want to risk it because I just wanted to look at. These were suggestions made on various other like cocktail enthusiast websites that I found. And so that's what I ended up with. And even though it wasn't right, and I can't tell you how close it was to this, the actual 3 of a kind cocktail, I just can't. But I can tell you that what it was bloody lovely, really nice. And that I think the hero ingredient there, I think, is the maraschino liqueur. I think if I'd had a proper maraschino liqueur, then the other substitutes I made would have mattered less. The maraschino liqueur, because I could really taste the cherry liqueur that I'd made and that almondiness, and I could taste that it was in a maraschino area, but not quite there. So I imagine it's very quite sweet, really, for a cocktail that I liked. But considering there were so many substitutions, it was a really nice drink. Really nice.
It could be one of those happy accidents where you're forced to substitute something for something else, and then actually that turned out to be better.
Yeah, who knows? Who knows?
Yeah.
I really liked it. I would genuinely really like to try a proper one. And I think as we go through this journey, I quite often pick up a bottle of bitters when they're not mental prices, because they're a good thing to have at the back of your cupboard.
They're a good thing to add to Christmas wish lists.
Yes, absolutely. That's a really great
I got
shout.
a big set of them for Christmas. Like, awesome. It's going to take you 4 years to use these.
Yeah, because they come in small bottles, but you literally use them like 4 drops at a time. They do last forever. They're great. The 3 of a kind, you stir over ice and then pour over like one massive chunk of ice in the bottom of a glass and garnish with a big slice of grapefruit zest. I love a bit of grapefruit, and I can imagine that is another thing that would improve that cocktail from my version. There was nothing of grapefruit about it. If old Bob's Bitters brings a bit of grapefruit to the party, then I can see that improving from the 3 of a kind to the 3 of a kind. I can see the value in that.
3 of a kind-ish.
Very highly rated on our friends Difford's. Mr. Difford himself, or the website themselves, give it a 4.5 out of 5, and the discerning drinkers rating from a good 48 ratings, which is a lot, is 4 out of 5. So recommended not just by me, but by a whole bunch of other pissheads as well. So next time on Cocktail Mode, we're going to be going back to the PlayStation, looking at Fear Effect and Fear Effect 2. We'll probably give a mention to the failed is a strong word, but failed relaunch on PC from a few years ago, Fear Effect Sedna. These are really interesting games. I hesitate again to use the word unique because it is a bit of a misnomer, but I think Fear Effect games aren't really like anything else. So we will be taking a look at those next time here on Cocktail Mode, where gaming and alcohol are in our blood.